QA, where tonight the K is silent, as in knits, knots, knackers and knobs. Let's meet a nitwit Sue Perkins. Not a lot, Ross Noble. Slightly knackered David Mitchell. And a complete, say no more, Alan Davis. Right. All the K's are quiet, and so are their noises. Sue goes, shh. Ross goes. David goes. That was a pin dropping. You could hear it.
Yeah.
And Alan goes.
Silence is golden.
Very nice. And how many knots are there in this picture?
Silence.
Yes.
2.
Well, you've got some options.
Oh, none.
Oh! David!
1?
Yeah!
Oh, it's such a swap. Is it the noose? Is
There
that
are
the
2
only one?
hitches, a bend and a knot.
The one on the right is a canoose.
Yes.
A noose, but it is a knot.
Oh, a
Yeah.
noose is a knot.
A noose is a type of knot.
The
A
hitches-
hangman's knot.
The hitches are the first one and the third.
It's correct. They are hitches, and the second one is what's known as a
It's clearly
bend. In everyday speech, of course, the word knot is used for all of them, but this is QI, where everyday speech is completely... So the highwayman's hitch, for example, I have an example of a highwayman's hitch. That's where you hitch a horse, and the tighter you pull, the tighter it goes, but when you want to get away quickly, you pull the short one.
Oh, that is good.
Isn't that clever?
Does he not just run off with the stick?
It's a post in the ground.
Because if you tied up your dog to that and you went, right, and then threw it and the dog ran after it, a lot of confusion there.
Yeah. Another one was called the European Death Knot, the Euro Death Knot, or EDK.
Was that named by UKIP?
It's also a one-sided overhand bend. It's used for joining 2 ropes, as you can see. It's perfectly safe, used right, but a lot of climbers thought it wasn't safe, and it was invented in Europe, so American climbers called it the Euro Death Knot. In fact, it's very, very old, and the 5,300-year-old man, Ötzi, who was discovered in the Alps, dead, obviously.
For a moment there.
He was preserved.
There for 5,000 years ago. Well, help! Will somebody help?
He had amongst his possessions a knot tied exactly in that fashion, so it shows that we've been doing it for a very long time.
And that would have been before rope was invented. So how we pulled that off.
The other hitch we saw was called the snuggle hitch, which is a more secure version of the better-known sailor's knot, the clove hitch.
You look at me as if I would know
Sorry,
that. Come on, Susan, you know that.
One of the surprising things about it, because it looks reasonably simple, was that it was invented in 1987. Or at least that's when it was very first introduced into the International Knot Tyers Guild.
Did they think they had enough knots?
Yeah, no. there are 3,800 in there. We're not going to go through each one of them.
So that's a very specific 80s knot. Did somebody go, we need a way of tying down Bananarama?
It was a man called Owen Nuttall, anyway, who invented it, and he called it the snuggle
I
hitch.
imagine he speaks like that.
Well,
The snuggle...
Nuttall here.
he might well
invented a
do. The hangman's knot is named after one of the most famous hangmen in history, Charles II's hangman.
Oh, Johnny...
French guy.
Johnny Noose.
No, because, oddly enough, his surname is a sailing vessel. Jack
Boat.
Ketch.
Yacht.
Ketch. Jack Ketch.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, has a tall mast at the front and a small mast at the back. The
Very
ketch.
indeed, indeed.
Yes,
indeed,
I'd
Ketch.
just like to put that out.
Well done.
Thank you.
This became pretty much the standard hanging noose that was used because it broke the neck very quickly. So it was a very quick death when you dropped. The drop, as they called it. So, in a way, it was humane.
It's good that you say he was an effective hangman, because if you weren't an effective hangman, you're essentially just a bloke that opens a door. You know what I mean? Because where was it? There was a place where the prisoners built the gallows, and when you stood on a particular plank, it forced the wood out, and then the door didn't open, and no one was getting... And then they would test it, and the door would open, and then they'd go, all right, and then they'd put the person there, and then it would push the wood, and then it wouldn't, and they'd go, all right, take him away, test it again, fine. And that happened loads of times.
And so they decided God didn't want this person to die and let them off.
Now, I think that's a real thing. I might have seen it in an episode of Scooby-Doo. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure.
Do they do a lot of hanging in Scooby-Doo?
No, you don't. Now you come to mention it.
Elmo!
No, it's not... How would that be Scooby-Doo? You're right. Shaggy!
It was Mr. Ketch from the Hangman all the time. So, now, I want you to take one of those each and tie yourselves together, as it were.
This has gone quite dark.
Yeah, it's
Just me. It's like a party game in the 70s.
So, put each one of those around your wrist. No, don't undo it.
Well, I can't get my hand
sorry.
through that, can I? Little cock grab, that is.
Try with this one. You can give me that one back.
More like it.
Yeah. Put your wrist through. That's it, and then do that, so that you're tied together.
Okay.
Yes. Is that
All
right?
right, is that good?
Yes.
Yeah, without undoing the knots, untie yourselves.
Oh, I see.
Don't turn around, don't turn around.
No, that's it. You go through there.
Yes!
Yes!
Emphatically no! Completely not.
Hang on.
Hold my foot. I've got it. If I do a forward flip...
No.
Right. Let's see if we can get...
Oh.
I think technically you're now married.
What? I'm coming down. I'm coming down.
You two hold it for a second and watch, because I think Sue was onto something.
OK, this is what we did when we were regularly handcuffed together as children.
You mustn't untie the knot. But... Ooh. Yay! Brilliant. Have a go.
I have no idea what you did.
No, neither do I, but I just feel alone now. I liked it when we were together.
Show them, if you can remember it, show them.
So,
I've now got a purple
It's a
one round
magician's
there.
trick. It's a good magic...
So what you have to do is you have to make a loop, and then you feed the loop through.
What?
And you go over your hand.
No way.
You are free. No, you're not.
Is this your watch?
Oh, we've given up. We've
Hang
given
on.
up.
If I take my trousers off...
I think we have to call it a disaster. But well done, Sue Perkins.
It was like playing S&M Twister.
It was rather, wasn't it? It was a wonderful sight that will never leave my memory bank.
You're now a shoo-in for the 50 Shades of Grey movie, the pair of you.
You are. Absolutely. So, if you want to tie the knot at a knobstick wedding, what do you need? A knobstick wedding.
wedding.
Yeah.
I think I've been to a few of those.
It's not an offensive term for gay marriage, is it? I'd be very surprised and disappointed to hear that on this show.
It is now.
And if you imagine a knobstick as being some sort of weapon, is there another type of weapon followed by wedding?
A shotgun.
Exactly, pretty similar to a shotgun wedding, which is from a later era. But a knobstick is a stick with a knob on the end.
So you just wave your knobstick around and someone goes, all right, I'll marry you.
It's a club. What used to...
Sorry, I was about to go, that's what I did to my wife. No.
No, she might be watching. A knobstick is a type of wooden club. Now, if a woman was unmarried and had a baby, that baby was said to be on the parish, like Oliver Twist. And the parish paid for workhouses and the parish had to pay for the babies. And they didn't like that. So in smaller villages where they knew who the father was, they would force the marriage by threatening them with a knobstick. And that was what a knobstick marriage was. It was an enforced marriage, because the moment a man marries a woman, he is responsible for the baby and the wife. Whereas if an unmarried woman was in the parish was. So it's that simple. There's a description of one here from 1829. One of those illegal celebrations of matrimony which are termed by the peasantry knobstick weddings took lately place in Wirksworth. The parties forced into the blessed state are William Saxton, a slender-witted man, aged 24.
Don't look at me when you said that.
And Lydia Brooks, some 15 years older, who has a wooden leg.
Well, why did they need
made in heaven.
Why did they need the knobstick then? Why didn't she just hop after him? Well, come on, marry me, come on.
But the word knot has been associated with marriage for a very, very long time. Tying the knot was first used in 1717, at least that's the first record we have of tying the knot. And there have been some very odd ones. In 2005, American Kevin Nadal married...
A horse? Was it a horse?
A tree?
No, it was himself.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you do that?
He solemnly vowed, I, Kevin Nadal, take me, Kevin Nadal, to have and hold in sickness and in health. His point was, if people are happy to celebrate married life, why shouldn't they celebrate single life?
Yes.
Did he take himself out on dates and wonder when he'd make the first move?
I bet he also said, no, it's always me who does the washing up.
Why am I always the bridesmaid?
It's not me, it's me.
So if he meets somebody, is he unfaithful to himself?
He
then?
would be, yes, presumably.
Not going to tell myself. I'm going
Very odd.
Would you have to divorce yourself?
Where have you been? I'm not saying.
After many years of thought, I decided to have an open relationship with myself. And, you know, I don't mind what I get up to.
Yeah. But I wish I just would... Don't do it
Don't tell
behind
me.
my back.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Not in my bed.
He wanted to do a bit of wife swap and he just goes the other end of the bed.
Oh, dear. In 1979, a lady called Aya Ritter Berliner Mauer, a 57-year-old German woman, married... What do you think she married?
Is it a bridge?
No, from her name.
Berliner Mauer.
Mauer.
So Berlin Wall.
She married the Berlin Wall in 1979, when it was still up, obviously.
There was somebody who married the Eiffel Tower or something.
Did they?
They dated the Eiffel Tower for a while, and then they got married. And they said that they'd been going steady with a bow, and they'd had close relations with a fence beforehand. And they were obsessed with... I think there's a word for... I don't know what the word is, but for sleeping with inanimate objects or falling.
Size isn't everything, but the Eiffel Tower is pretty impressive.
As phalluses go.
Yeah. And there's a gift shop.
Yes!
The restaurant.
The view from the top of my husband. Anyway, none of these marriages, of course, has any official standing. So those are some of the odder marriages. The traditional way to make an honest woman of someone is to use a churchwarden's knob, on the other hand. Why would anyone ban knitting patterns, flowers, hugs and kisses? This is a real ban, as to say, a governmental ban.
It's got a wartime feeling about it.
It has got a wartime feeling about it. Code is the right
What, they're
word.
knitting code?
Yes. So in World War II, you were not allowed to send abroad any knitting pattern, just in case there was code embedded in it.
So you couldn't send
knitting
socks to prisoners of war?
Well, you could send socks, but not anything with a knitting pattern in it.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Because they could be used as some sort of code.
Open out a blanket and it says June the 6th, 19...
Normandy.
Yeah.
Also, postal chess was not allowed. Even kisses at the bottom of letters, in case they had some meaning.
Presumably messages saying where the troops are moving.
Yes, those were obviously pretty much banned.
Could you not have got, like, you know, you get knitting machines. Could they not have made, like, an Enigma knitting machine where it makes a jumper and then scrambles it up so that they couldn't pass the message?
That would be very
You know,
clever.
it's an opportunity missed.
It is an opportunity missed. We have a Karen Templar, who is a QI watcher, has knitted us.
Oh, look at that.
And this says, in Morse code, I will always love you.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Bravo.
I think she was playing. She was indulging in a bit of foreplay.
Hey! Very good.
And let's hope that it is Morse code and not Braille. You'll what? Get off me.
You know, the female knitters at the guillotine?
Yes.
Did they knit? Did they knit code or knit something? There was something about them knitting code.
The most famous one is Madame Defarge in The Tale of Two Cities, and they were known as tricoteuses, which is the French for knitting women. But a lot of people now believe they didn't really exist, that they were sort of made up by Carlyle, the great historian of the French Revolution, and by Dickens.
So they didn't knit necessarily, or they didn't think that they actually sat there watching heads rolling.
Well, in the book,
making
Madame
bobble
Defarge
hats.
knits the names of all the aristocrats who are getting their heads chopped off, which is not really a code, as a sort of gleeful, cackling joy. And the original women of the Revolution were called the mothers of the Revolution, and they were much loved. But then they became, during the Terror, they became considered a nuisance. And so they were shut up, and they were forbade to wear trousers. A law that wasn't repealed until February 2013 in France. Trouser suits have actually been illegal in France for that length, but obviously not enforced,
No.
to say the least. Now, how can knitting be used to reduce fear, crime and disorder?
You're saying if he had a tank top on, he'd go, OK, I'm putting the gun down.
Well, you know, if he was knitting, he couldn't be holding a gun.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
It's harder to stab, shoot. You can only really kick people while you're knitting, can't you?
You can stab.
And
We'll come on to that. There is something called extreme knitting, which we will come to. At the moment, we're looking at this form of knitting, which has different names. It's called guerrilla knitting, or sometimes yarn bombing. And it is actually a way to make a place more peaceful. It's to deter crime. And it's tried out in Leicester, where they hung pom-poms and put things around trees.
Oh, I feel calm already. It's like a tree warmer.
Well, they used cozies for tree trunks, parking meters, even buses and tanks has been suggested in military areas. The Leicester experiment has had mixed results. Some locals don't think it works, others do. The fact is the pom-poms have so embarrassed the Leicester police that they haven't allowed us to show photographs of them, which is extremely mean of them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you look it up, you'll be able to see the Leicester
so they're
pom-poms.
embarrassed?
Yeah. They're embarrassed by the fact that they do look rather comic.
We can easily sort that out. Basically, if you're watching, if you're in Leicester and you see a policeman, just go, "Oi, where's Pom-Pom?"
Yeah, exactly.
I'll teach him.
No, it certainly will. It certainly will. But as I said, there's guerrilla knitting, but I alluded to it earlier. There's extreme knitting. What do you think that might be?
I don't know, now I've got Greg Wallace in my head going, knitting doesn't get more extreme than this. First you get a slip stitch, then comes the taste of pearl.
Isn't it about doing knitting in places where you wouldn't normally, like driving a Formula One car or...
Well, sort of.
Parachuting or
The great heroine of this is one Susie Hewer, aged 55 at the moment of going to press. She has the world record for knitting a scarf while running a marathon.
Oh, that is good.
That is impressive. And she's also crocheted while running a marathon, too. And she's ridden a tandem, and she does it to raise money for Alzheimer's research. So it's all pretty good in the end.
Yeah, I did a half marathon when I was a student to raise money so that we could go to the Edinburgh Festival.
Oh, dear me. So
guess.
that's what
50
got
quid.
you
70.
here.
Oh, that's good.
70
Because
quid.
13
And
miles.
then we got £2 off the Students' Union to top it up.
30? Well, it worked out all right for you, didn't it?
Yeah.
I would say. Now, what about the biggest knitted objects in the world? How big are they?
Massive.
Yes, is the answer. Give me
Have a point, thank you.
The biggest knitted object.
Yeah.
Well, I've had my doubts about Venus for a long time.
Is it going to be like a suspension bridge or something? It's a knitted object.
In as much as it is, yes, it is a
a house.
physical object on which people can live.
Is the internet knitted? It counts as a huge knitted thing.
No, it's a series of man-made knitted islands on the Peruvian side of Lake Titicaca, and there are 45 of them. They're from Totoro reeds, and there's a church on one of them. There are buildings and houses, people live on them. And they're quite...
The scariest thing is the size of the nanas that built them.
Several hundred people live on them, and they get so used to this rather springy surface that if they then go on land, they can't walk. It takes them ages to get their land legs
I think
back.
that's where Bez from the Happy Mondays, he's from.
There you go.
It'd be a great
Excellent.
excuse, wouldn't it, if you turned up somewhere pissed to say, no, actually, I'm fine, I just usually live somewhere knitted. Very odd.
Just use a very different surface.
Everything feels very wobbly, but it's, honestly, I'm a professional.
But the Lake Titicaca Olympic team must be amazing.
Give me a statistic about Lake Titicaca.
It is the biggest innuendo place in the planet.
It's got titties and it's got caca.
Exactly.
Is it very, very high?
It's the highest navigable lake in the world. That's quite right.
Navigable means you can go in one end and out the other.
Well, yes, yeah, you can get ships on it, and there are many ships on it exactly like that, and ports and things like that. There are higher lakes which you couldn't get a
Not
ship
been made
onto.
more navigable by loads of knitted
Knitted,
islands.
Get in the way.
Yeah.
So, anyway, now for a new round, What Katie Did. Here are 5 creatures and 5 names. I want you to match the creature to the name.
Oh, right. OK.
There's a dragon-headed, a spike-headed, a horned, a mimicking, snap-nosed and a small-hooded, and they're all called...
Sheila.
No, they're called katydids. Why might they be called a katydid?
A catitid?
No, it is actually pronounced katydid. It's because supposedly the sound they make by stridulating their wings, as many of the crickety-type animals and cicadiid-type animals do...
Crickety-type animals?
Yeah, crickets, grasshoppers, locusts.
And
We
this
look
is
to
the... you do it in your nature shows. You go, oh, these are the crickety-type ones.
Crickety ones and the footballish ones.
So their bingo wings sort of rub, and they
rub
let
their
off
rings, and it makes a chirping noise, yes, but which
mine do that.
puts them in common with locusts and grasshoppers and cicadas and so on. But they're called katydids because apparently the sound is Katie did, Katie didn't. I don't know. We haven't got a recording of it, so I can't help
Katie did,
you.
Katie didn't, Katie
But
did, Katie didn't.
let's show the answers in a colour-coded sort of way. Well, there you can see.
Oh.
But they're strange creatures, and the most impressive in some ways is the small hooded, which, as you see, is the purple one, which looks like a leaf. We're looking at it very closely, and it's moving, but it wasn't discovered till 2010. It lived for millennia, and it's not even rare. It's in Australia. It's because its camouflage is so astonishing. The mottling of the leaves and everything else is such that people just don't see it.
It's the longest game of hide and seek.
Yes, it is.
Literally some... Oh, look, what's that little
finally.
glider in there? He said, that's an animal, it's alive. Oh, you got me!
Yeah, terrifying thing, actually, suddenly to really, you know, that things that we've been looking at for ages turn out to be animals.
Yes.
You know, that you're suddenly looking at 4 trees and suddenly realise, oh no, they're legs.
There's another katydid, which does a really extraordinary thing. It's a record in the animal kingdom, as far as we know. It's the male tuberous bush cricket. It has the largest testicles for their weight of any animal. That's 14% of their body mass.
14%.
14%.
Gonad.
It enables them to fertilise as many females as possible. They do this by inserting a jelly-like package.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm sorry, called a spermatophore. Into the female. The back end of this spermatophore, this bulging packet of spermatozoic jelly, there's too much of it. It bulges out, and the female reaches back and eats it for lunch. Yes, so it's a romantic dinner for one. So it's a couple.
Only a man could say that.
40%.
The thing about that as a creature, though, is because it's got such massive balls. Like when you film it close up, it must go like it must leap. Whoosh. Oh, oh!
Oh, the agony.
Every time it lands,
Where's
it's just.
Where's the penis? Is the penis massive?
I don't think the penis is as massive as
Just a
the
little
testes.
thing like that and then 2 like...
Yeah, it's really...
It's quite a powerful squirt, you'd have thought. She could be a mile away.
Yeah.
Well, there you are. There's your katydid.
What's the longest distance of mating in the animal kingdom?
What is?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know.
Some fish, they put the eggs and then the male fish
post.
comes along later. They don't even meet,
that's
do they?
right. You could send by post, I suppose.
Well, there's the ninja slug. Well, this is a real thing.
A ninja slug?
The ninja slug. And it when it's doing the loving, it... yeah, I'm like a proper
Slug
expert.
loving.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, slug loving. And then instead of getting involved, it comes up and then it fires, like, all the necessaries towards the lady slug, and she whoof. And then... I don't know what it's
catches
called.
it.
It's sort of...
But she leans backward to catch it.
I don't think she's got hands, but she sort of... That's the thing with a slug. If you rush a slug like that, they go...
Oh, it's that bit. On the yes, you're right.
Just, and then,
Are you saying it's like the meat and two veg detach?
Yeah, takes it
And
off.
takes it off and fires it at
Takes it off, and it... Again, I'm not sure where I found this out.
Scooby-Doo. That is definitely Scooby-Doo.
Sort of, it's a bit... And then it... Woo, like that.
I've definitely seen that on Scooby-Doo.
And then I think she's like that. Whoo.
And she's basically like a goalkeeper, just readying herself.
Yeah, honestly, it's like an explosion in an Ann Summers.
Well, that's terrific. Well done.
There's nothing worse, though, when this slug comes towards the lady and she dives the wrong way.
Moving on from the enormous knackers of the katydid. What can you tell me about the royal knackers?
Well, I imagine they're pretty toasty right now.
Is it where
They've got a
royal
knacker's yard?
horses are killed?
Yeah.
The royal knacker's yard?
Yes, they don't any longer have a royal knacker's yard, but they used to. There was, of course, in the Victorian age and earlier, a great need to get rid of horses who had died and to make the most of them. And they went to knackers' yards. And there was...
into lasagna.
And they were made into all kinds of things. And the royal knacker was one John Atchiller, who had the royal warrant from Queen Victoria to knacker her horses. And he was the official horse slaughterer. He's buried in Highgate Cemetery, where there's a tomb with a prancing horse on top of it, like a Ferrari mascot.
Is it prancing the other way up?
Maybe prancing is a sign of revenge.
Yeah, maybe.
We got you at last, you bastard.
Yeah. He had two knackers' yards. The first was in Sharp's Alley near Smithfield, and then later near King's Cross at Belle Isle. And they were famously malodorous. You wouldn't want to live near them. Huge copper vats filled with horses being rendered down. But here from 1844 is an extract from Bentley's Miscellany. The knacker's cart arrives in double quick. The mob admires the cart, the royal arms, and the inscription, "Knacker to Her Majesty." The royal knacker, a swell knacker in cords and tops with a bit of butcher's apron, just as big as a bishop's, merely to distinguish his profession, poleaxe in hand, descends from his vehicle.
Well, that's pageantry.
That's pageantry, isn't it?
That's
Exactly.
what I want to see televised. David Dimbleby doing the commentary, the slaughtering of the royal horse.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't be David Dimbleby, though, would it be Fern Cotton?
Oh, and
People would say, oh, they've ruined the horse slaughtering.
They trivialised the knackering.
yes, it used to be so respectful.
So much pomp and circumstance.
Yes.
Explain what bit of the horse was bubbling up to the top now. Is it a bollock? Is it an eye?
Yes.
But they don't know now, these new presenters.
Football clubs used horse oil to...
I don't stop chafing.
Lubricate something, I
Yes, their boots, actually, oddly enough, to keep their boots supple. Cricket teams rubbed it into their bats, much as they then used to do with linseed oil. Doctors used neat's foot oil to massage a patient's joints after coming out of plaster. You'd use that. Selected bones were sent to knife manufacturers for the handles. Oh, there you are, look. See, horse meat for sale, this store only. With beef, lamb, veal, pork also available.
Yeah.
He's thinking, well, I won't have
The horse looks a bit worried. The horse is deciding which to have. But by strange, I don't know if coincidence or irony is the word, but in 1824 the RSPCA was founded, and there's a plaque to show where it was founded. Old Slaughter's Coffee House.
That's what you want to do after you've been had a good old night slaughtering, is have a latte.
Yeah.
I fed horse meat to a lion once.
Did you?
That was a pony trek gone wrong.
Days we were lost for. No, I was in Namibia
Yeah.
doing a documentary about this place where they rehabilitate big cats Well, they had 3 lions, a bit like Clarence the Boss-Eyed Lion from Daktari.
I remember him well.
You know, he kind of was semi-tame. And they fed them horse meat, so if a horse died anywhere within about 300 miles, they'd try and get hold of it. Wow. And they'd chop it up, and you'd put it... They'd lift a bit of the fence, and you'd shove this metal bowl underneath, and the lion would come over and put its tongue in. And the lion's got these barbs on the tongue...
Take the skin off.
...that can pick up a piece of horse meat and dangle it from the... And then they
Just
look at
on
you
the
through the bar... Still got the hair on the side, you know. It's not... Quite a flimsy fence.
Yes. We're lucky still to have you.
Yeah.
Well
Quite a
done,
sight,
you.
quite an impressive
Well,
sight.
if anyone from Leeds tells you to eat kicker, what should you do?
Run away, because that's kicker there.
You can see we're still in the world of meat.
Is it horse?
It is actually just plain horse, yes, it's horse. And Yorkshire was the last place, really, to eat horse on a major scale in Britain.
Until quite recently.
Well... Of course, recently there have been a few scandals which mean we've probably all been eating horse.
That dark brown horse has the hair of Tina Turner.
What you got?
It's spot on.
What you're looking at here is the entire lineup of horse Kajagoogoo.
You're absolutely right.
Really spooky, that.
Well, horse was very popular right up till the first millennium, until Gregory III, the Pope, deemed it too pagan. But the Scandinavians had always loved eating horse, and the greatest Scandinavian, as it were, presence in Britain was in Yorkshire. And so it remained as a tradition to eat horse right up until, really, the 30s. And the last butcher selling horse in the county was Arnold Drury in Doncaster, who died in 1951. He proudly advertised Viande de Cheval, meat horse, of super quality horse flesh. And other butchers called it kicker, more euphemistically. And in the 19th century, rural Yorkshire folk who moved to the city were known as kicker eaters.
I've eaten horse.
Well, most of us have, apparently, without knowing it.
Yes.
But you ate it deliberately. And how was it?
Very lean. Just no fat on it at all.
Wow.
Just basically like eating sort of, I don't know, sort of wall insulation. I mean, just no,
Yeah.
no succulence to it.
But isn't it odd how we rebel at the idea of things that we're not used to? You know, we are totally used to drinking the proteinous, fatty stuff that comes out of an alien animal that is designed to make its calf double in weight every week, and we're perfectly happy scull it back and go, that's all right, I'm eating a cow's milk. But someone says,
so...
eat a horse's milk, you go, yeah!
Even more so than that, when my sister-in-law expressed some breast milk and kept it in the fridge, and her brother came in and drank it. Made everyone feel a bit unwell.
Yes.
No one quite knows why.
Well, exactly, because it's a lot
Clearly
more...
it's designed for human consumption.
Exactly. Much more than cow or horse milk is.
And I'll tell you what, it makes a lovely rice pudding.
Well, wasn't there a shop selling
Breast milk
ice cream?
Yeah.
We should all try lots of different animals' milk.
I'm very happy to try horse. I had some of that breast milk ice cream.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I was on a television programme and they brought it round as a gimmick. I didn't seek it out.
No.
And it tasted completely like normal ice cream.
I thought you were going to say completely like tits.
Yeah. It tasted very, very strongly of
Very
tits.
breasty.
No, it tasted very much like dog or horse milk, in fact.
Well, the most famous 19th century royal knacker was Jack Atchiller, responsible for dealing with 26,000 horses a year. Talking of being knackered, describe the world's oldest mattress.
Oh, I think it's got springs sticking out and it's a bit tatty.
It's a lot older than that. It's very, 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 very old. 39,000 years old, we think. It's in KwaZulu-Natal, in a cave, and it's made of rushes and reeds. And it was used by humans for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and they'd add top layers of insect-repelling plants so that they wouldn't get bitten during the night. Oh. So it's a really extraordinary...
What was it, a king, a super king?
I think probably wider. Californian double king, probably.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I've stayed at that hotel.
Compared to apes, of course, humans are relatively hairless. We have two major areas of hair, don't we? We have our little top knot, and we have our little lower down area of hair, both of which can be susceptible to lice. There's the head louse.
And there's
the pubic louse.
which is actually on
known
the
as-
decline.
The crab, is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
There's not so many pubes about these days, are there?
Well, because of Brazilians, you think?
No, that's exactly
The
why.
Brazilian has seen...
Yeah, because of the, you know, the...
Shaving downstairs.
Hollywood has seen...
And the...
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I know this, but it's true.
Scooby-Doo again.
Probably, yeah.
And if it hadn't been for you pesky kids, I'd have gotten away with it as well.
But yeah, apparently their numbers are... Yeah, I mean, they've had to actually start sanctuaries now. Special pube sanctuaries, and I donate, like, every month.
Little crabberies.
Money comes
To
out
provide a
direct
natural
debit.
habitat. The natural habitat is shrinking.
It'd be awful, wouldn't it, actually, though, if you found you had pubic lice and then there was some sort of Environment Agency order on it that you couldn't get rid of them because they were so sorry, it's important to the ecosystem.
They're restricted, they're zoned.
They're like bats.
Yeah. It was assumed that when we were hairier beings, we had various lice on our bodies, and that some of them specialised in the head and began to sort of evolve into head lice, and the others specialised in the pubes and began to evolve into pubic lice. But it's been discovered that they're not related at all, and that our pubic lice are actually related to lice that live on gorillas. Oh. Which asks a rather interesting question as to who was it who made that...
David Attenborough.
Yep.
David
No, it was 3.3 million years ago that the jump was made.
I think that still works, David Attenborough.
So there's no... So they're down there and up there, no... But, you see, I've got a...
They're not related?
I've got a sort of nature corridor.
Well, you might... I think you'll find they'll try down there and not like it. They'll stay up there. And they all stay down there.
How dare you? That's an area of outstanding natural beauty down there.
It's an immense distance, though.
Let's just say an area of special scientific interest.
I've had a picnic area put in. I've got a gift shop down there. Coach park.
Oh, my God.
There must have been sort of louse meetings, though, somewhere in people's chest hair when the more... Yeah, exactly, the more adventurous of the head lice meet the more adventurous of the pube lice, and...
Yeah, you'd imagine.
They must have tried mating.
To make chest lice.
They created a new species, tit lice.
Yeah.
Just live around the tit area.
A titlouse is
Titlouse.
good. That's a nice
Titlouse.
thought. I like that, yes.
It's almost Beatrix Potter,
Yes.
isn't it? This is a children's book waiting to happen.
It is, absolutely.
You're going to do the audio recording.
Moving on. What's the oldest profession?
Oh, and we were all terribly frightened of the
obviously-
prostitute.
I hope.
Prostitute. I'm just shouting prostitute like I usually do. Prostitute.
It must be 5 o'clock.
Whenever I walk past it in Soho and you see that models upstairs, it would be amazing if you went in there and it was just like a Hornby model railway, and just loads of women in their pants just going, "Come on, it's brilliant. We've got a station box."
But it's not prostitution.
Is it knitting?
No, but you're right, it begins with a silent K. When we made early tools, what do we make them out of?
Flint napping.
Napping. Yes, flint napping. It seems to be the oldest profession. From archaeological digs, we've seen a Homo habilis, handyman. He was an early, smaller version of us, and he napped away at flint to make spearheads and so on. It seems to be the first job that we know of.
But logically, if someone's tried hunting just with a normal stick before he's asked someone to have a go at napping some flint to make his stick sharper. So I reckon hunter's got to be a job pre-napper.
Yeah, but you were it was self-employed. Well, you ate the food and you gave it for the family.
I reckon they were all probably... None of them were on PAYE.
No, I was going to say,
Even before hunter, there was surely a spear caddy.
Spear caddy.
Who hands the spear to the hunter.
Oh, like a
spear caddy.
caddy.
Could I have the number 4, please?
Of course, you don't have a thing like a wood chopper, wood cutter.
Yes, you've got to have one of those. You're right. But anyway, flint napping was certainly an
older than... All of this is before
certainly
prostitute.
the oldest one with a silent K. Yes. Yeah. Is there a word for prostitute that begins with a silent K? I don't know the one.
Probably.
Knob gobbler.
Wow, that was good. That was fast. Yeah, well, the oldest human occupation we have evidence for is flint napping. Now, what should you watch out for when handling these?
Oh,
Roses, rose stems.
Old women with secateurs.
Well, that's one thing. And what else? What else might harm you if you tried to pick them?
The thorny bit.
No, roses don't have thorns.
Thorn bushes have roses. Is that it? Is it the truth?
No, roses, they're called...
Prickles.
Prickles. Well done. Absolutely right.
prickly.
They're not thorns. A thorn is a very specific thing, botanically. Thorns are modified branches or stems, and prickles are part of the plant's skin, which is what those are. They come out from it.
So when Bon Jovi sang Every Rose Has a Thorn,
They were
he
lying.
made an absolute fool of himself.
They did.
Every rose has a prickle. That'd be great, wouldn't it, if you went to a Bon Jovi gig and every rose has a whoop, whoop, whoop.
You've got to invite him on the show, I think. You're absolutely right. So let's see if we've learned something tonight. I'm going to show you something. And tell me, is there a thorn in this picture?
There's not one on the rose.
No.
Well, you said no, didn't you? But you were more accurate. You said there's not one on the rose.
But is there one on the crown?
No, there isn't one on the crown either.
One on the grass?
Oh, Alan, you were the only person on the programme where we covered this. There is no such thing as ye olde Rosencrown. It's the old Rosencrown, and the letter Y is called a...
Thorn.
Thorn. The letter is the thorn.
So the Y is called...
A thorn, yes.
A thorn.
It's a
When you
th
see
sound.
that, you
There
don't
was a
say
yod.
ye, you say the.
The. It doesn't say... When people say
Just
ye
the.
olde, they're completely wrong. It's the.
I will never get it wrong again.
So you no longer have to say ye olde tea shop. It's the olde tea shop.
What if you open a new one?
Just called it the new tea shop. Now, who fancies one of my knickknacks to celebrate the beauty of chemistry? I've got a bottle here of alcohol. But this is not drinking alcohol. I'm just going to...
That was full at the start of tonight.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cloud, which I think you'll find is rather exciting. I've got a pump here, and Alan, I'm going to ask you to pump me, would you?
Every Monday.
And by doing this, I just make it evaporate a little, and I'm going to stick the plunger in as soon as I can so I don't get too much. Now, by pumping it in, you're applying pressure to this. There you go.
So I pump?
About 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That'll do.
Is it going to blow up?
There we
Is it
go.
going to
And
explode?
cloud! I've made a cloud. But, pop it in. We can now make it disappear. Go, cloud! Come back, cloud! Oh, isn't that exciting? All of which brings us to the scores, and our winner tonight on -6 is David Mitchell. In a very respectable second place on -9 is Ross Noble. Improving all the time in third place with -17, Alan Davis. But tonight's frayed knicker elastic is Sue Perkins on -22. Well, that's all from Sue, David, Ross, Alan and me. Good night.
Actor John Hannah guest hosts Nevermind the Buzzcocks next, in another chance to see the start of the new series. And there's more comedy as a double bill of American Dad is getting underway over on BBC 3 now.